Hi, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential and I'm here today to take a closer look at the Baby Lock Enlighten Overlocker, just one of a wide range of overlockers and cover stitch machines available on our site sewessential.co.uk. At Sew Essential, we pride ourselves on using our expert sewing knowledge to help you choose the right cover stitch or overlocker machine, and that's why we've made this video, but we're also always here to support you by phone or email too. The Enlighten is the next model up from the Victory Overlocker, and it has all the same great features, but there's a few extras too. So in addition to all the features on the Victory, you also have the option for the wave stitch, which is a unique stitch to Baby Lock and only available on certain models. You'll also have the jet air threading system, but it's the extraordinaire looper threading system. So this threads the loopers at the press of a button. You don't even have to push a lever down. You press a button and the loopers are threaded as if by magic, giving you so much more time to sew and less time fiddling around like you have to on those manual overlockers. It also has a bit of extra space under the foot, an extra 2mm, giving you the opportunity to sew with thicker fabrics even more easily. Plus, you find all the features you found on the Victory Overlocker too. So you still get the automatic thread tension, meaning you can go from sewing a piece of jersey fabric to sewing a piece of denim and get great results without changing any of the settings, and I'll show you that later in the video. You also get the ability to thread the machine in any order. So if one of the threads breaks or you want to change one colour for any reason, you literally just change that thread. Whereas on other makes and models of overlockers, you have to unthread the whole machine and start again. That's just not the case here. It's super quick, super easy, giving you lots more time to sew. And you also get the option of sewing with 4 different threads, so you can create a wide range of stitch combinations, including a 4 and a 3 thread overlocking stitch, a 3 thread rolled hem, a 3 or 2 thread flat lock stitch, and that gorgeous unique wave stitch. And I'll show you some of those later in the video. I'm going to pop a link in the corner of the screen now so you can jump onto our website, take a closer look and purchase the machine. Later in the video, I'll show you what's in the box, but now let's just get started at having a look what this awesome machine can do for you. One of the absolute standout features of Baby Lock machines is just how incredibly easy to thread they are. I'm going to thread now for a 4 thread overlocking stitch, and we'll use the telescopic thread guide, but this will extend out of shot. So initially, I'll just show you the green thread. You just bring it up and over through the thread guide like so, and then I'm going to extend that out of shot and we'll just bring the other threads through the guides, they're relevant guides as well. So if we bring each of those through the relevant guide, and then once we've done that, all we do then is click them into the guide on the back of the machine here. So the green one will go through that first one and you will hear it click, and this is what sets the thread tension for you on the machine. So that's another one of the amazing features of this machine, is that you don't have to worry about your thread tensions. That can take literally hours on manual overlocker machines. You might have to test, which one of the threads is the tension not right, and do lots of test runs. But with the Baby Locks, it's so simple. You just click them into those thread tension guides there, and the machine will do everything for you. Now we'll thread the loopers, which is the really exciting bit, but I should just mention here another feature that is wonderful about these machines is that you can thread them in any order. So on a manual overlocker, you have to thread in a specific order, and if a thread breaks or you want to change a colour, you've got to unthread the whole machine and then thread it again. With the Baby Locks, you can thread in any order, but I'm going to start with the loopers. So we'll just open the front cover, move this cover across, and then you can see here we've got a lever to choose serging mode or threading mode. I'll move the lever down to threading, and then if I just turn the hand wheel towards me, if you watch here, you'll see some metal pipes jut out and join up across the machine there. So if I just turn the hand wheel, there we go, those pipes have now joined up. And what that allows the machine to do is to feed the thread from the threading ports here to the upper and lower loopers. It's just so easy, and for anybody who's ever used a manual overlocker, you'll understand the beauty of this and how easy it is. So I'm just going to insert, first of all, my green thread into the lower looper port. So I've just got to push about 1/2 inch of thread in there. And then once I've done that, just make sure you've got plenty in there. Make sure it's not caught on anything here as well. Just press that button and you will see that lower looper, you will see the green thread fly out of there. And that's it, the looper is threaded. So for anybody who's sat there painstakingly with tweezers, with a manual model, you will appreciate how wonderful and easy that is. And now we're going to do the same with the purple thread for the upper looper. So just pop some of the thread in that threading port. You need to just push it in a little bit further, you can. Again, just make sure it's not caught around anything here. And then press the button and you'll see the purple thread fly out of the upper looper. And that's it, your loopers are threaded. And this is why these machines are so wonderful, because instead of spending hours threading, you can do it at the touch of a button, and then you've got more time to enjoy your sewing. So to get it back into sewing mode, we just move the dial back up to serging, and you'll see those pipes have now moved back across into the machine, and that will allow the machine to work its magic and start sewing once we've threaded the needles. Now I'm going to thread the needles, and I should just mention here that I have moved the surging threading dial back into threading mode, because not only does that put the metal bars into the correct position to thread your loopers, it also gets your needle bar in the correct position so that you can use the needle threader. So we'll start with the right needle thread, the blue one. I'm just going to bring that under these thread guides on the front of the machine, and then up and over the top of the needle bar like you do on your sewing machine, and then behind the thread guide on the front of the needle bar. And then the needle threader has got a lever that you can slide across to the left to thread the left needle, or to the right to thread the right needle. And then I'm just going to bring the needle threader down using this lever here. And the same way as you do on a sewing machine, you just put your thread across the eye of the needle, gently release the needle threader, and it will pull the thread through the eye of the needle. Then I'll repeat the process for the left needle. So take the red thread under the thread guides on the front of the machine, up and over, slide the lever across to the left to thread the left needle, bring the thread behind the thread guide on the front of the needle bar, and then lower the needle threader. You might want to just move your right needle thread out of the way before you do your left needle. So I'm just going to bring that to the back of the machine like so, and then lower the thread guide, the needle threader, bring the thread across the eye of the needle again, and then release it, and it will pull the thread through the eye of the needle. And that's it now. We're all threaded up for a 4-thread overlock. I'm just going to pass that thread to the back of the machine as well and get that out of the way. And then also I just need to move the lever back into serging mode, close the front of the machine, and then we're ready to look at the settings for that stitch. And I just want to show you how easy it is to select the relevant settings for each stitch. So for the 4-thread overlock, we want the wave overlock lever to be on overlock. We've got a stitch selector here at the side of the machine, and we can choose from A, B, C or D. I'm just going to choose A for the 4-thread overlock. And all of these settings are detailed in the quick reference guide and the manual, so it's dead easy for each stitch to find exactly what you need to do with these settings. The other thing to consider is your differential feed, which I'm going to leave set at N for normal or neutral. But if you were sewing a particularly stretchy jersey or something cut on the bias and you noticed that the fabric was getting a little bit wavy as you sewed it, you can use your differential feed and knock it up one, and that will compress the fabric as it feeds through the machines and prevent that from happening. You've also got the option to really exaggerate that, and on a lighter weight fabric, if you move your differential feed right up, it will enable you to sew a gathering stitch. And then on the other hand, you can move your differential feed down, and that will deliberately stretch the fabric as it feeds through the machine. So you might use that to do something like create a decorative lettuce edge on a stretch fabric, for example. But for now, we're just going to leave that set on N. And then the only other thing we need to check is the stitch width and the stitch length. So the stitch width, it tells me to set it for a 6 to a 7.5. So I'm just going to turn that dial and I'll set it at 6.5, somewhere in the middle. And then the length, it says to set at 2.5 to 3.5. So I'm in the standard half of the dial here. And again, I'm going to set that at 3. So that's somewhere in the middle. And then the only other consideration is that you've got the option to lock the blade if you don't want to cut the edge of your fabric, but I'm going to leave that unlocked so that as I sew the fabric, it will trim the edges nice and neatly for me. So let's start by showing you the beautiful Baby Lock Enlighten in action with the 4-thread overlocking stitch. Before I do that, I just want to mention these markings here. These are used as a guide to sew different seam allowances. So the R is the 5/8 seam allowance. So if you line the raw edge of your fabric up with the R as you feed it through, that will sew a 5/8 seam allowance when you're using both needles. If you ever forget though which markings correspond to which seam allowances, a little tip is just to use a tape measure, and you'll find a marking for the left needle and one for the right needle on the front of the foot. So if you're using the left needle, just measure from the left needle, and then the corresponding marks will line up with different seam allowances on your tape measure. And if you're using the right needle, then just do the same from there. But I'm not going to worry about seam allowances now. I just want to show you these gorgeous, gorgeous stitches. So I'm going to start with a nice piece of stretchy cotton jersey fabric, and I'm just going to put that under the foot and off we go. Let's just sew some of those gorgeous stitches. So you can see there we've got an absolutely gorgeously neat overlocking stitch there. We haven't had to mess around with thread tension. It's just so time saving to be able to just put the fabric under the foot and go and know you're going to get a great result. And then to demonstrate that even further, I've got a piece of medium weight denim here, and I'm going to sew that and show you that without changing any of the settings, I can get the same beautiful results. So there you can see an ultra neat stitch again. I'll just show you the wrong side as well. And what I'll do is I'll just sew the wrong side of the fabric as well, so that the threads show up a bit better for you, so you can see that sort of top stitch even more clearly. So there you go, you can see that there, beautifully neat stitch. I haven't had to adjust any tensions, any settings, anything like that. And I've gone from sewing a piece of stretch jersey to sewing a piece of denim, and I've got beautiful results both times. Now it is worth mentioning there is a fine tuning dial for thread tension here. If ever you are working with any really specialist fabrics and you just wanted to fine tune that tension a little bit, you can use this. But in all honesty, I've got a Baby Lock Desire 3 and I don't recall ever having used that. I might have tried it at some point. I don't know. I can't remember, but I know that I sew with a wide range of fabrics, and if I have used it, I can't remember. It must have been so long ago, and it's so rare. I've had the machine for 6 or 7 years now. But yeah, the proof's in the pudding there. Just look at those gorgeous, gorgeous stitches on 2 completely different types of fabric. So I'm going to make the relevant selections for a 3-thread rolled edge now, which is a lovely decorative finish often used on lighter weight fabrics like satins and chiffons, and the thread just wraps round the edge of the fabric and finishes it nicely. So the first thing I need to do is just select D on the stitch selector. I'm going to leave the machine in overlock mode and leave the differential feed where it is. But then I need to make a change with the length dial. Whereas we were in the standard half of the dial before, we need to turn that now so that the rolled hem part of the dial is at the top. And I'm going to select a stitch length of 0.75 because I want those stitches to be nice and short and close together and fill in nicely. And then I'm going to select 3 on the stitch width. And again, all of these details are in the quick reference charts and in the manual, so it's really easy to follow. And then all I need to do is remove the left needle and I'm ready to sew that lovely 3-thread rolled edge. Now we'll take a look at the 3-thread rolled hem finish. So I'm going to do this on a piece of cotton first of all. Just pop the fabric under the foot and away we go. You can see there it's a lovely decorative way to finish the raw edge of your fabric. So you might do this, you might think, oh, a narrow hem's going to be a bit heavy on this fabric. And this is a really nice alternative way to finish those raw edges, often used on things like chiffon scarves. I've used it on ruffles, on sundresses and things like that. There are some slight gaps in the stitches here. And if you want to fill those in more, I'm never worried. I'm quite happy with that finish. But if you would like those to be filled in more, what you can do is purchase some woolly nylon threads or flosses. We stock them on our website. I'll pop links below for you. And that is just a thicker thread. It's stretchier as well, and that will just fill those stitches in even more for you if that's something that you'd like to do. Do subscribe to our channel as well, because lots of these techniques I go into a lot more detail in my tutorials and things on the channel, so it's worth signing up for that. But now I'm going to show you that technique on some stretchy jersey as well, so you can see that. And you can see there that's filled in the, covered the edge of the fabric again. And then if I stretch that fabric like so, you can actually create a lettuce edge. So like a nice wavy decorative edge to your stretch fabrics with the edge of the fabric filled in with those threads and that 3-thread rolled hem effect. Now I'm going to set up to sew the super exciting wave stitch, which is unique to Baby Lock machines. So I'm going to knock this dial up to wave. I'm going to change my stitch selector to B, leave my differential feed where it is, and then I'm going to change the stitch length, but I'm going to come back into that standard side of the dial and set that at 0.75. I'm going to set my width at 3. And I'm going to remove the left needle because the wave stitch is just sewn with the right needle. And then when I've done that, we're ready to start sewing. Now I just want to show you the setup for the wave stitch in terms of the threads and the thread paths, because we do things slightly differently for this stitch. Your lower looper is threaded in the normal way, so it goes through the normal threading port, it's on the normal stand, and it comes down and goes into the normal threading port. The upper looper, however, is on the stand at the back to the right, and then normally you would take it through this thread guide, but for the wave stitch you bring it across to the thread guide that's normally used for the right needle, and then you bring the thread down the front of the machine and thread it into the upper looper port. And you just have to make sure that the thread comes to the left of the metal thread guide on the front of the machine. And then the needle is threaded again, rather than bringing the right needle thread through this thread path, we move it to the left one and we take it through the thread path that's normally used for the left needle. And then we just bring it down the front of the machine and thread the needle in the usual way. So it's just a very subtle difference. In essence, all you're doing is moving your upper looper thread across to the path where you would normally thread the right needle, and then you're using the upper looper port to thread it, and then you're taking your right needle through the thread path that would normally be used for the left needle. So it's a very subtle difference, but that's how you set it up for the wave stitch. So let's take a look at the unique Baby Lock wave stitch in action now. Just pop my fabric under the foot, and what I've done here is I have actually used some of the woolly nylon, thicker decorative thread. I'll pop a link to it below for you because we stock it on the site, but I've put that in the lower looper so you'll be able to see how those stitches get filled in more by that speciality thread. So there you can see the pink thread is the woolly nylon. It's really filled those stitches in nicely. And just check out that awesome wave stitch. What a lovely decorative finish you can add to the edge of any of your projects. It's great for crafty projects, bag making, bookmarks, all those sorts of things. Anything where you want to finish the edge with a nice, unique decorative stitch. So if you're impressed with all the amazing features of this gorgeous machine and you want to purchase it, just click the link to go to our website and you can see it in more detail and purchase it there. In the box, you'll find everything you would expect: a detailed instruction manual, a quick reference guide for threading, a spare blade, some spare needles, a screwdriver, an Allen key, a brush for cleaning, some spare screws, and then you'll get everything you need for your threads as well. So you'll get some sponge discs for when you're using smaller reels of thread, plastic cones to use with the larger reels of thread, spool caps and thread nets as well. Then, if you want to take your sewing even further, another amazing feature of the Baby Lock machines is the really wide range of feet and accessories available to purchase separately for these machines. So you might want to use a piping foot, a lace applicator foot, you might want to use an elastic foot, and all of these feet are available to buy on our website. Plus, there's a great value multi-pack of feet and a compendium which shows you all the different stitch combinations and where you might like to use them. Just check out the link and look for the Baby Lock feet and accessories, and if you need any help at all choosing, don't hesitate to give us a shout. That's what we're here for. So I've given you a really good overview of the Baby Lock Enlighten Overlocker, but if you've got any questions at all, don't hesitate to get in touch. We're always happy to help, and we want to give you full confidence when making your purchase. All of our machines come with a full manufacturer's warranty, which is 2 years as standard, plus you can extend that another 2 years to 4 years in total by filling in a short questionnaire within 3 months of purchasing the machine. In the unlikely event that you do have a problem, don't hesitate to get in touch. Very often we can solve any issues over the phone, but if that's not the case, we'll collect the machine and do everything for you. We offer the best prices, but if you do spot this model anywhere else cheaper, don't hesitate to get in touch and we'll be happy to help. Your machine will arrive the next working day by courier with a dedicated time slot, so you know exactly when that happy post is going to arrive. I hope you're feeling super excited about your next steps on your sewing journey and your new machine. Thanks for watching.